I debated what video I wanted to film today and actually whether I wanted to film at all because I'm feeling a little rough this morning. If you're watching me on video, you can probably tell. It is the day after Halloween and we had Halloween in our new house for the first time this year, and it was really fun. It was honestly one of the better Halloweens we've had of late. We didn't go anywhere, which was a big plus. I do not recommend leaving your house for Halloween. Anyway, the point of this is that I'm going to talk about the power of routines and habits and how this really came in clutch when you're not feeling your best. But if you are new here, welcome. My name is Julie. I'm an occupational therapist by training and background. I also have 3 kids, and I talk a lot about organization, living clutter-free, mom stuff, parenting on this podcast. I talk about parenting, solo parenting a lot, and how you need certain strategies and attitudes and narratives to make that more enjoyable, morning routines, all the mom stuff. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please go ahead and subscribe, like this video. And also sometimes I throw out some interesting topics that I really think apply to everybody, such as being a people pleaser and feeling guilt around money and things like that. So if these are things that float your boat, make sure you subscribe. And with all that said, let's jump into today's topic, which is about routines. I had this sort of epiphany, which is kind of how I get my inspiration for topics to talk about how routines will make you or break you, basically. Routines will save your life. That's probably going to be the title of this video, something to that degree. And I really think this is true. And so then I started researching a bit more, like what's the difference between a habit and a routine, because I've spoken about habits a lot and how I want to change my habits, or I either want to add a certain habit into my life or I want to break a certain habit, especially when it comes to sleeping and scrolling before bed and eating chocolate before bed and all the things. You might be similar to me. Anyway, and really the difference between a habit and a routine is a habit is like a one-stop situation. It's like a thing you do once, over time. But a routine is when you put all of those habits together and you make them into a freaking powerhouse. So for me, I realized that earlier this week I was parenting. I even want to just change this, but I had the kids the beginning of the week. And one of the things that I've talked about and one of my struggles is the mornings, especially the school mornings. Not so much weekend mornings unless we have to be somewhere really early, but it's the stressful school mornings where there's a lot of traffic. I have to get everybody out of bed. They might not want to get out of bed. I have a 3-year-old, so she's a wild card, but sometimes the other ones are also a little wild in their own way. And it's very stressful to me because I have to wake up very early. I feel like I personally have to wake up very early in order to get them out the door on time. And if they are late, it is my fault. All the mom guilt comes crashing in on me. And I also realize that the school has a tracking system. So it's not like if they're 1 or 2 minutes late, it's not a big deal. I mean, it is not really a big deal, but there is a tracking system in an app. And once I found that out, I was like highly motivated to figure things out. So I have a video that I think will come out before this one, all about my morning routine with them and how I have changed how I approach it. I've really worked on my own personality and what needs to happen for me personally to make this successful, because it's caused a lot of tension in my marriage or relationship, and just like the fact that my husband has to travel for work. It is what it is. It's kind of what we've agreed to do, and it puts a lot of stress on the family. But more than that, what is like a little heartbreaking or just horrible is that especially my older kids, they feel the stress and they don't like it. They don't like it when my husband's not there. And it's not just because they miss him because he's not there. It's because of the impact that him not being there has on me and the way I behave. And I don't like that about me. I want to be able to manage, especially now they've gotten older. It's not like I have a little baby that I'm trying to navigate that around with toddlers, older toddlers. I have a toddler, but she's 3 and a bit. So I really just have to get it together. And the way to do that is through habits and routines. And I reflected once my husband came back. He was like, "Oh, you seem to do really great when I was gone." And old me would take that as a big slight, like, ugh, But I took that as a compliment because I crushed it this time, which I never feel like I do. So I just wanted to think about, I wanted to explore this idea of having a good routine, which is built up of good habits. And especially now. So I thought I would film this video today because We did Halloween last night. It's on a weeknight. Some of the kids in our area do not have school today. I can't believe that's for Halloween, but maybe that's what it is. Like they've purposefully decided to do maybe a teacher development day or something. It's wild. But they clearly have learned their lesson where the kids are going to bed way too late the night of Halloween. And it's a nightmare. Or I saw a meme on Instagram which was like, God bless all those teachers that have to teach children the day after Halloween. Because it's true. It's like they go to bed late. They've been eating a lot of junk food. They're so excited. It's a whole mess. And man, I woke up this morning feeling like I'd run a marathon, like because we'd had people over and we were entertaining, and then we went trick-or-treating, and it is later and I'm cleaning up. Like physically, I felt like I'd worked out in a way that I'm not used to, which is kind of shameful, honestly, because I didn't really do a lot of exercise, but whatever. For that is the reality. I felt rough, and I don't really drink. I mean, my husband will tell you I don't drink at all, but I especially don't drink on a weeknight. And I mean, since having kids, I barely drink because I need to be functioning on full cylinders. And if I drink and then I wake up the next morning, I feel so horrendous. So it's not even from alcohol that I feel horrendous. I just feel rough. Like, I just feel like, oh, I wish I could sleep. And I just didn't sleep as well as I could. And if we didn't have our routines in place, everything would fall apart. There would be no way that our children would get to school on time, especially after a night where we haven't done all the things that we usually do. You know, like I speak about like doing the laundry the night before and emptying the dishwasher the night before and setting out all their clothes and everything. And like, yes, we sort of did that, but not really. Like I'm running the dishwasher now. I'm doing some laundry now. It's like, what time is it? 10 o'clock in the morning. I usually like to do that the day before. We had to provide little clementines with the celery sticks that look like little pumpkins. I don't know if you guys have ever had to do that. It's like the healthy Halloween treat. We had to do that for my one daughter yesterday and for the other one this morning. And if we didn't have time and we hadn't had other things kind of set out, we would just never get it done. And I think because we have trained ourselves in a certain preschool morning routine that we're able to survive when things are not steady. So this is the thing, like 85% of the time, 90% of the time, you're going to be doing similar things. Like most of the time, well, at least in my life, I'm not going out at night on a weeknight before school. So I have the time to unpack the dishwasher, set out their clothes, tidy up the kitchen, think about what's happening tomorrow, look at my calendar, be organized for the next day, right? And wind down before bedtime. But then there are always going to be nights where, or days where things come up. You know, Halloween, now we're getting into the holiday season, it's going to get more hectic. When I finally return to playing tennis again, it's probably going to be on an evening. But if I didn't have those routines and habits like set in place where they're kind of automatic for both my husband and I, so that we can both kind of carry the ship, it would be a total disaster. It would be so stressful. But because we were able to, like, I was able to set out clothes and stuff that they needed a specific type of uniform this morning because they're taking a picture or something. The little one needed a costume because she goes to a different school. Like, it's just, there's a lot of moving parts that I'm not always like fully conscious of. And if I didn't have the backbone of my routine and habit, I would be such a mess. We would get so many black marks against our name for being late. It would be so terrible. All to say that when you're feeling a little rough, like I am now, under the weather, if you will, like I'm not sick, but I don't feel my best, having routines and habits to fall back on is absolutely life-changing. I've done a lot of episodes about this, so I will have them linked down below and you can go and check them out. And I just think by building one or two solid habits to start with, eventually that will catapult you into a bigger routine, like a snowball effect. So for me, it was realizing that we needed to lay out everything the night before so that we have less to think about in the morning. We're less likely to forget something if everything's done. And this is probably obvious for lots of people, but for me, it took time to like figure out exactly what we needed. And then as each child grows and goes into different schools and does different things, like they have different requirements. The same with getting as much done the night before, dishwasher, washing machine, packing lunches or parts of lunches or snacks. Doing it the night before just alleviated the stress for me so that when I have a bad night or I go to bed late or we do something like Halloween, I can wake up on minimal sleep with kind of grumpy, but still know on subconsciously what we need to do. And I think that really just helps levitate the mood, elevate the mood and make us all feel a little bit more prepared for the day ahead. So if you are looking to change habits, make sure you go watch that episode all about making a habit, and that habit will build into routine. Do not underestimate the power of routines and having structure in your life. It will absolutely change your productivity, your ability to take breaks and rest, because you've been so productive and efficient on the times when you have set aside to work. It will impact your discipline and just your ability to do what you say you're going to do and not drop as many balls. I mean, obviously life happens and we get thrown a lot of curveballs and challenges, and we need to be prepared for that. But if you have a solid backbone and foundation, you'll be able to handle it so much better. So if this is something that is interesting to you or you've got value from this video, I would so appreciate it if you could subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what your current routine is, or perhaps what you're working on and want to achieve. We're heading towards the end of 2024. I almost said 2025. We're heading into 2025, and that's usually just the natural time when people start to reevaluate goals and things that they want to change in their lives. So I'd be curious to hear what your habits are that you want to develop or maybe break. And with all of that said, I will see you in my next video. Bye.